Ah,
You are in live.
hmm.
Okay. Invite చేసుకొని PowerPoint on చేసుకో.
Okay, okay. We ready, huh?
Right. Okay. All the best.
Thank you. Dear students, good evening, all of you. Today, let we continue our lesson, second part, the people. Dear students, good evening, all of you, and my dear friends, teachers. So, once again, I welcome you all to the today's session. Today, let me continue the sixth lesson, second part. Dear friends, let me remember at once the yesterday's part. In the first part, what we learned yesterday. You see, my dear students, here my contact number is given here 944-177-6537. This is WhatsApp number also. If you have any doubts, first of all, better to call your teachers, then ask me if needed. My dear friends, yesterday we discussed about what is people, what are people, how to conduct a survey, what does the census shows. Already I have given an examples, one or two examples. Family as a unit and village is a unit. How to get the information and how to analyze it. Yesterday we discussed. You see again, children below 15 years, infants from 0 to 6 years, 5 years, and school age children 6 to 14 years. Below 15 years all are called as children, and working age group 15 to 59 years. These are all participating in productive activities, generating income, and aged above 59 years. So these are the information yesterday we learned, and also sex ratio, literacy rate, working population. So these are all the things yesterday we learned. Again, why the information the government is gathering? Why the information the government is needed? Already yesterday I explained about that. See, the information which gathered through the census of India is collecting the census. In the census, what the information they contain, already we have discussed. Based on the information, they are making laws, they are allocating budgets, they are identifying for which area should be developed, in which area is weakened, where the government assistance is needed, for which program, how much funds are allocated. So these are all the steps taken by the government through with the help of census gathered by the census of India. For every 10 years, they are getting information and making different kinds of plans. Yes, today let me continue in the second part, changing of population size. That is the concept we are going to learning, and Umed Singh family as an example. That is, if you go through the textbook, this information is available in the textbook itself. It's an example for changing of population and population density, discussion on different population pyramids. This pyramids gives us an examples of population of the different countries. So let me discuss. These are the concepts today. My dear friends, changing population size. You see here, you see, if you observe the graph, this graph is in our textbook. Indian population from 1901 to 2011. 1901 to 2011. This graph narrates, or this graph tells about the population how increased in India for every 10 years. You see here the population in million: 1901, 1911, 1921, 1931, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91, 2001 and 2011. If you observe the graph given here, you see the curve, how the shape of the curve is. If we draw a curve like this, how the population increased for every 10 years. You may raise some questions your own. You prepare some questions. It is one of exercises I am given to you. By observing this graph, you may frame your own questions and answers also. You show it to your teacher because it gives an idea for us. You see, in 1901, the population is 238.40 millions. Whereas we come 1911, it is increased 252.09. While you see, likewise you observe it, 1921, if you subtract from 1911 to 1901, you can understand how much the population is increased. In the same way, 1921 to 1911, if you subtract, the difference you can observe. You see here, somehow it is downfall. A little bit of downfall we can observe from 1911 to 1921. Whereas if you go 1931, 41, 51, gradually the population is increased. When we come to 2011, it reaches 121 crores of people. 121 plus of people we can observe. The difference must be known by observing this graph. You can understand for every 10 years how much it is increased. You may prepare a table also. By observing this graph, you can prepare your own table. It gives a better idea to you. You do it. It is a homework to you. After completion of this lesson, it is a homework to you. When we go another slide, you see here the population is always changing because of the interaction of the three processes. What are the processes? Births, deaths, and migrations. You see, every day there are births in the nation. There are deaths as well as deaths. Also, we can observe. You see, we can go, if we refer in Google Maps or Google search, if you type births in India today's, very easily you can understand, you can get the information, and also deaths. You see, through the births and deaths and migrations can change the people of nation. Then change can be expressed in two ways, that is absolute change and percentage change. This absolute change is, we can understand through this formula. Absolute number is equal to population at later date and population at earlier date. Population at later date and population at, if you subtract from at earlier date to later date, you can get the absolute number. This indicates the change of how much the population is changed for every 10 years or year to year. It can give a clear-cut idea. And also population change in place. From one place to another place, the migration is taken place. For getting food, or for searching the employment, or for searching the job, they are leaving from one place to another place. They go from one place to another place for searching the job. So that is why it also, there are some changes in the number of population. You see here, population always changes because of the interaction of the three processes. One is births and deaths and migration. That is why every 10 years the census is taken. How many births are taken place in this decade, and how many deaths are there, and how many people migrants from within the country and other than our country. So these are all the calculations will available through the census. In migration and out migration, there are two processes. In migration is to move or settle into a different part of one's country or home within the territory. It is not a permanent in migration. At some period, they go and stay there. After completion of the work there, then again they come to their own place. Out migration is the process of people moving out of an area in their country, to move to another area in their country permanently. They settled in that place. So that is the differentiation between these two. You see, the changing of population is depend on births. You see, birth is the number of live births per 1,000 persons in a year. That is the definition of births. Birth rate is the number of live birth per 1,000 persons in a year. For every 1,000, how many births taken place in a particular nation? It is the definition. You see, as per 1992 census, the birth rate in India was 29. The birth rate in India was 29. The birth rate means there is a calculation. Death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 persons in a year. This is the definition of death rate. This is also a calculation. You see, in 1992, for every 1,000 people, for every 1,000 people living at the time, 10 people died during the year. For every 1,000 people, we have to keep in mind. For every 1,000 people at the time, 10 people died during the year. This calculation tells regarding 1992. Birth rate is, you see, in 1992, the birth rate is 29, the death rate is 10. You can identify the difference. You see, birth rate is 29, minus 20 minus 10, sorry, here the number is typed wrong. Birth rate is 29 and death rate is 10. The difference is 19. This number can be expressed as percentage, that is 1.9% in 1992. That is birth rate. Likewise, we can calculate. In the same way, death rate also we can calculate. You see here, you want to observe one thing. 29 minus 10 equal to 19. That means birth rate is higher than the death rate. So that death rate is lowering while birth rate is growing. That is why population is increasing every year by year. We have to understand that. We have to keep in mind how the population is growing in our country. You see, why? What are the reasons for rapid growth of population? Reasons for the rapid growth of population. You see, already by observing the 1992 population, how much growth in births and how much, declining the death rate. What is why that situation arises? Why that situation comes? If we understand reasons for rapid growth of population, that is nothing but the rapid growth, because there is a 19 children difference is there per every year. The main cause is green revolution. Green revolution, advanced health care conditions, advanced health care, employment opportunities, improved standard of living, then uncontrollable activities, high birth rate, family planning. So this is divided into two parts. Uncontrollable activities, high birth rate, family planning, gap between birth rate and death rate, social attitude. These are all the influencing. These are all the influencing the population, the growth of population. Green revolution. What is meant by green revolution? You see, it is a revolution in the field of agriculture. Once upon a time, we are getting our lands are not fertile because they are giving a low amount of yieldings. In per acre, we may get only 10 to 15 bags of paddy, but it takes 4 to 6 months of duration to get the crop. But nowadays, what happened? There is a lot of change has taken place in the field of agriculture. Now technology entered into the agriculture. Once upon a time, we are ploughing the land with bullocks. But nowadays, we never find the ploughs. The tractors came into the place of ploughing. The tractors are tilling the land. Now machinery is sowing the seeds. Now machinery is croppings. Paddy is cut by the machines. Not only in the field of paddy, in each and every crop, with the help of machinery, they are doing. That means technology is entered into the field of agriculture. Not only that, the manures, traditional manure goes. It is giving a little bit of help in the growing of agriculture, but different kinds of urea, DAP, these are all the manures introduced. And also the cropping period is reduced. Within the 3 months, we are getting the crops within the 3 months, and also high yieldings we are getting. through the green revolution. Revolution means a change, a drastic change taken place in the field of agriculture. So that is why uh, the growing population, we are meeting the needs of food very easily. So that is why there is no starvation of deaths. So this is one of the causes for the growing population. Advanced health care. In the olden period, in the olden days, cholera, malaria, the epidemic diseases, but kills a large number of people. On that time, there is no health hospitalization, hospitals. But what happens nowadays? We can find everywhere hospitals in public sector and hospitals in private sector. See, the government is establishing hospitals even in major panchayats, primary health centers. The doctors are there, the nurses are there. The most of the villages they covered. If we come to the cities, the advanced equipment is there in area hospitals, and also 100 beds hospitals and 500 bed hospitals. Likewise, depends upon the cities. The hospitals are constructed under the public sector. A large number of doctors are appointing. So that is why advanced healthcare conditions are there. Under the private sectors, a super specialty hospitals are there. When and where the disease is attacked, the advanced health hospitalization is there. That is why the death rate is controlled. The death rate is controlled. That is why the population is increasing every year. Employment opportunities. Due to industrialization, that is also a revolution in industrialization. In every cities and everywhere, the industries are established. The employment opportunities are arises. From the agricultural field to industrial field, a large number of employees are turned. And also service sector is strengthened. So that is why employment opportunities are available in these three sectors, in agricultural sector, in industrial sector, and service sector. There is a large number of opportunities are there. That is why the people are living happily by getting employment, by getting food, by getting hospitalization. So these are all the causes for rapid growth of population. Improved standard of living. Improved standard of living. Standard of living, that means the most of the families are getting nutritional food, best educational facilities, good employment opportunities. So by availing all these opportunities, best health conditions, better education, the schools are also established in each and every village for giving better education. The schools are also under public sector as well as private sector. These are all improving the standard of living. And so these are all the causes for the rapid growth of population. You see, uncontrollable activities, high birth rate, family planning. You see, India is, as already we discussed, India is in the second place of population in the world. China goes to first place and India goes to second place. You see, we are unable to control it. There are so many reasons to control the population. That is why we are getting high birth rate in India. Of course, advanced health conditions also one of the reasons. So to control the population, the government is educating the people, maintaining the family planning, maintaining the family planning. That is why now in India, especially one or two babies are enough. That slogan is popularized in India. One or none, one or none. That is the latest slogan. One or none. In the earlier, one is enough, two are, I mean, that is the slogan is there, one or two. Now the most of the people are educated regarding the children. The small family is the best family, they decided like that. So that is why they are permitting one or two. So a family, they are also following the family planning. That is why the population is going to be controlled in the latter years. That is the hope. And also gap between a birth rate and death rate. This is also influencing the population and social attitude. Some of the religions and some of the persons are not following the family planning because their social conditions are not permitting. Some of the religious feelings and some of the superstitions are there. You see, in large number of families, they are expecting one male child. I hope that is not a good. Whether it's a male or female, whoever they are, we have to consider them. Already, yesterday we discussed in a table. See, highly educated in Kerala and also US, the female number is more than the males. So that is why we have to invite, we have to accept the females also. So these are all the conditions we are discussing. You see here, this table tells us population growth rate of India. Population growth rate. The magnitude and rate of India's population growth. Calculate the missing figures and write them down. You see here I have completed, but when we see in our textbook, you have to fill the gaps. Where the gaps are there, you have to fill by following the information given in the textbook. So that is why, my dear friends, my suggestion, of course, you may not textbooks. After say in the September 5th, the schools are opening. I hope the textbooks will be given to you. In the meantime, if possible, you better to get the textbooks from your seniors who have completed 10th class. It helps you very lot during their holidays. You see, in the 1951, the population in millions, we have to follow very carefully this data. Absolute increase in the decade, percentage of change in the decade, percentage, see, that is the calculation. In 1951, 360 million populations. In 1961, 39 million populations. If we subtract from 1961 to 1951, we can get the difference. The difference. Absolute increase in the decade in millions, 78 millions. That is the difference between 499 to 361. You have to subtract from 439 to 361. 439 minus 361, the difference is 78. 78 millions of population increased in this decade, 10 years of period. 1951 to 1961, 10 years difference is there. Within the 10 years, how much population is increased? 78 millions of population increase. The difference is 1951 to 1961, the difference percentage, the percentage in this decade, 1.96 percentage. Likewise, you have to calculate 1971. This is subtracting from 439. The difference you can identify. So this is the percentage. If we go through like that, up to 1981, there is a increase in the population 0.02. You see 1.96, 0.24, what it indicates? Downfall of the percentage of the population, the changing of the population. 1.96, 0.24, 0.26, 0.02, we can observe the downfall. And if we come 1991 minus, it goes to the minus 0.08, minus 0.21, minus 0.17. What the table tells us, if you understand, if you study the table in detail, it gives an idea regarding the population, how the population is downfall, what are the reasons. Of course, there is a growth also there by observing the up to see independence. One kind of growth is there. Later, when the people educated by the government, they are following the family planning, that leads to downfall of the number of the population. Okay, you see, if the population grows like that, if the population grows unlimitedly, what will happen? Why the population grows? What are the things are influencing the population? What are the reasons for population growth? Already we discussed. What are the problems associated with the overpopulation? We have to discuss now. The problems associated with the overpopulated include the increased demand for resources such as fresh water and food, starvation and malnutrition, consumption of natural resources such as fossil fuels faster than the rate of regeneration, and a deterioration in living conditions. These are all the problems we are facing if the population grows unlimitedly. What are the problems again that we discuss? Fresh water. The water should be very fresh to consume. So that is why if you observe in each and every village, there are purified tank waters are constructed in each and every village. In Telugu, there is a meaning I have forgotten. See, then fresh water is needed for each and every one. So that is why in towns there is a water tanks. There the water is purified, that should be supplied for each and every family. The same thing followed in villages also. So that it is one of the uh, uh, advances provided by the government to the people. Then food. You see here, food is not only satisfying the hunger. The food must be give strength. Nutritional food. Nutritional food. Food is not only meant for satisfying the hunger. The food must be given to the strength to the person. So that is why the poor people are unable to get the nutritional food. That is why the government planned through fair price shops. Fair price shops, they are providing subsidized rates. The food items are providing with subsidized rates, right? Different kinds of dals, different kinds of oils, and rice for 1 rupee kg. These are all the supporting help from the side of government to overcome the poverty, to overcome the nutritional deficiency through the fair price shops. Okay, you can understand in every village, in every major village, the fair price shops also there. Okay, then consumption of natural resources. You see, the electricity is generating through coal. Coal is one of the natural resources. It is a very limited in the ground. You see, after completion of after some years, it may be vanished. So, electricity should be provided to each and every village, to each and every family, to each and every agricultural fields. The need is there. So these are all the problems when the population grows. So we have to keep in mind all of these, and we also follow the family planning. Family planning. If not, if we do not follow the family planning, the large number of problems are arised like these, like this. Food problem may be arise. You see, nowadays, unfortunately, most of the agricultural fields are turned into uh, real estate. Real estate. What will happen in the future? We may not get sufficient food grains, a lack of cultivating lands. So that we keep in mind that also. You see, lack of rains. Most of the tanks are closed. Most of the tanks are occupied by the farmers, and that lands are converted into real estates, house plots. You see, if the things are going like that, the food problem will arise, the starvation deaths may be taken place. So these are all the problems are connecting. The providing shelter is also a problem for growing unlimited population. And providing infrastructural facilities like shelter, clothing, food, providing drinking water, purified drinking water, and electrification, providing uh, roads and drainage system. These are all very difficulty to the government to meet the needs of public. So, my dear friends, while keeping all of this, that is why this lesson is introduced. What are the population? What is meant by population? What is census? How it's useful for the students? What are the information this lesson contains? What are the birth rate? What are the death rate? What are the how the population growing? What are the influencing things to the growth of population? What are the problems arises if the population grows? So these are all the things helping us to understand the nation's position. You see, since 1981, birth rates have also started declining gradually. Already we have observed in the table in the earlier slide. From 1981, the birth rate is declining, resulting in gradual decline in the rate of population growth. Then let we learn about the fertility rate. Fertility rate. Total fertility rate is the number of children that is likely to be born to a woman if she were to live to the end of her childbearing years and bear the children in accordance with current pattern. That means the capacity of women giving birth to the children. So that is called the fertility rate. Fertility rate. Then the fertility rate for India in 1960 was more than 5% 6 in 1960. You have to keep in mind, which indicates that on average each woman was likely to bear 5 or 6 children. See, in the olden period, in the earlier period, there is no the concept of family planning. That is why they didn't full stop for giving birth to the children. You see here 5 and 6 more children they are giving births. That is the capability of the mother. So that is called the fertility rate. The family decides the number of children they want depending on security, opportunity for children and social norms. You see, while from 81 onwards, they are all educated. They are all deciding based on the conditions of society. How many opportunities they are getting, what is the security they are getting. By following this, they are deciding. Present fertility rate in India is 2.7. You see, in 1960, the fertility rate is 5.6, whereas at present, in India, that is 2.7. When we compare these two, how downfall the fertility rate. This is meant for the Andhra Pradesh only. This is meant for an Andhra Pradesh. See, present fertility rate in India is 2.7, especially in Andhra Pradesh fertility is 1.9. That means the educated people are growing, so they are deciding to to be the family to maintain the family planning. That is why the birth rate is the fertility rate is downfall. You see here, yesterday I told you all the graphical information, all the tables. That means a large amount of information is comprised in these graphs and tables. See, by observing the graphs and tables, we can enlarging the information. We can, we can elaborate the information into paragraphs and pages when we observe it. You see, the graph 4, this graph is in textbook. Fertility rate in India from 1961 to 2011. You see, if you observe, in 1961, fertility rate is 5.9. You see, you observe the graph, it is downfall. It is downfall for each every 10 years. In 1971, it is 5.4. In 1981, 4.6. 1991, 3.8. In 2001, the fertility rate is 3.1. 2011, 2.7. Okay, so this is total birth per a woman tells us. This graph tells us. Okay, then migration. This is one of the causes for changing the people. How the people are changing. The number of people are changed in a nation. That we tell already birth rate, births and deaths, and migration is one of the causes for the changing of population. You see how the people are migrating. Why the people are migrating? Because they have no work at their birthplace, because these are all landless people. Moreover, these are all illiterates. They have no, you see, lack of rains. They may not get cultivate agricultural works at their village. So that is why they are searching the job where the jobs are available. So that is why they left their homes and they move for searching the work, for searching the job, for searching the employment, because that is giving food for them. So that is why entire families leaving. Of course, short-term migration is there, full-time migration is there. In short-time migration, then they come back to their own native place again when the works are available in their native place. In the long-term native, some of the migrants are settled within India or in abroad. They may settled based on their providing employment facilities. Migration is the movement of people across regions and territories abroad. Internal migration does not change the size of population. You see, the migration within India may not change the number of people, because they may not be in their native place, but they certainly in other places. That is why the number may not be changed within the borders of nation. Migration plays a very significant role in changing the composition and distribution of population. Certainly it can change. So population density. Population density, see here, this is the definition for population density. Population density is calculated as the number of persons per unit area. Per unit area. We have to keep in mind. Per unit area, this is calculated per unit area. The population density of India in the year 2011 was 382 persons per square kilometer. So this density of population is calculated total population by total area of the nation. Total population of the nation and total area of the nation will give the density of the population. You see, as per 2011 census, that the density was 382 persons per square kilometer. The density of population tells per square kilometer. Bihar density of population is 1106 per square kilometer. That means what it indicates? Here 382, here 1106. That means the density of population is overpopulation is here. Overpopulation. A large number of peoples are there in Bihar. Within the limited area, because each and every state there is a boundaries. Within the boundaries of people, there are 1100 not 6. That means and the number of people of Bihar divided by the area, and we calculate this comes. Arunachal Pradesh, you see, only 17. Why this happened? You see, in Bihar, um, perennial rivers are there. Perennial rivers. Perennial rivers like Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra. These are all the perennial rivers. The Ganga river flows in Bihar. Moreover, this is the plain area. That is why large amount of people are living in this place. The cities are there, the rivers are there, the fertile lands are there. These are all the causes for large number of people living in this area. That is why here the density population is more. Whereas Arunachal Pradesh, if you come, this is the hilly areas. Hilly areas. In the hilly areas, the opportunities are very lesser. The living conditions are very lesser. Um, we may not find rivers in this place. We may not find the uh, flatten area, plain areas. These are all the hilly areas. That is why the density of population varies very lower. In Assam and most of the peninsular states have moderate population. Peninsular states, the moderate population is there. Okay, these are this here the more population, very lesser. These are all moderate population. We have to keep in mind, my dear friends. You see, hilly, deserted and rocky natural of the terrain. This is comes Arunachal Pradesh, Assam. These are all the areas are hilly areas. That is why population is very lesser. The density of population is very lesser. The moderate rainfall, shallow and less fertile soils have influenced the population density in these areas. That means in peninsular India, the moderate rainfall and shallow and less fertile soils. Here, the soils are less fertile. That is why here moderate rainfall is one of the causes, and less fertile is one of the causes in the peninsular India. The northern plains and Kerala in the south have high to very high population density because of the flat plains with the fertile soils and abundant rainfall. So these are the differences we have to keep in mind, why the density of population in more in some areas and moderate in some areas and lesser in some areas. These are all the causes, my dear friends. You see the current population, I mean at present in India, 138 crores, 2 lakhs, 271.00 power. This is the population of present India. As per Tuesday, yesterday's, based on the yesterday population, I took it from Google search only to give an idea to you. You see here, worldometer, through worldometer, elaboration of the latest United Nations. This is the, I see, based on the, with the help of United Nations, this data is covered. India 2020, 138, 4,385 people. At mid-year, according to United Nations data. United Nations, these are getting this data, these are providing this data for us. India population is equivalent to 17.7% of the total world population as per the calculations of yesterday. This is the information. 17.7% population in India as per the total world. India ranks number 2 in the list of countries. Okay, the population density in India is 464 kilometers per is as per the yesterday's calculations. Okay, you may also get into it. See population density of Andhra Pradesh. This is the map given in our textbook. You see this by observing, this is the combined state. This map is regarding the combined state of Andhra Pradesh. That means Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. This is the information. you can give the mark based on this information given. Population pyramids. You see, a textbook, these are all the pyramids given. You see, Sweden is one of the developed nations. In the developed nations, the base is very narrow. That means the birth rates from 0 to 15, already we told, 0 to 15, the base is very narrow. Then 15 to 59, you see, this is very wider. That means each and every birth, they are all living. There is no deaths. So that is why it is broadened here. Whereas this up to 82 years, the span of living 80 to 82 years, 80 to 82 years in the developed countries, the old age people are dying very lesser. This much of information we can understand. You see, these are all the years. Left side, these are all male, these are all female. Male, you see here, the male and female. This is the graph regarding Sweden as per 2012 calculations. These are all the age groups. These are all the age groups. Okay, x-axis, y-axis. If we understand, this is the information. Then populate pyramid, Kenya and Mexico, you see here. You see, underdeveloped countries and developing countries, the base is very larger, very elaborative. That means births are more, whereas going higher and higher, the deaths are more. Births are more as well as deaths are also increasing for each and every decade, for each and every year if you observe, as per the ages given here. You see, 0 to 15 years, the base is very larger. Whereas if we go, this tells us a triangular shape. This graph is give a triangular shape. So underdeveloped countries and developed countries shape is like this. The base is you see very larger, while going on the deaths are more. See here the lifespan may be 60 to 70 years maybe. In the same way, the Mexico, you see how broader in the base. You see, we going on, the deaths are more. You see, this is also 2012 calculations. Left side males and right side females. This information is containing. These are the age groups. Okay. Likewise, we are concluding the lesson. See, before concluding the, let we remember introduction. What is population? What is who are people? What is meant by population? How to conduct survey? What are the information that survey contains? Children, working age, aged people, sex ratio, literacy rate, working population. How the people are changing population, births, deaths, and migration is influencing to change the population. Umeed Singh family example is there. You better to read our textbook and you get the information. It is an example. That is why I am unable to explain you because lack of permitting the time. Population density, I already told, discussion of different population pyramids. So this is the lesson. I have given a project work to you. With the help of your parents, take any 10 houses from various communities and collect the census and interpret on it. Don't go outside don't go outside with the help of your parent, because this is the period of corona. It is highly influencing entire the world. A large number of people are affecting, and also death rate is also growing on. You observing while listening the news and observing the papers. My dear children, don't go outside without the permission of your parents. If you want to go outside, better the wear masks and take precautions. Then only you move from outside. As early as possible you have to reach your home. Okay, don't forget this. This is the project work I am giving you. You take 10 houses from various communities in the village. Different kinds of communities are there. Yesterday I explained you, and you do the work. Thank you one and all. Be happy, be safe, wear mask, don't neglect your parents' suggestions. Very soon we meet at schools. Okay, thank you one and all. Thank you one and all.